And then how long is like your onboarding process for when you're bringing
Yeah.
on somebody new?
Well, it depends on the size of the project, but usually, if it's a large, more transformational project, it can be months. It can be 3 to 4 months of auditing their current technical stack, right? Figuring out what have they done already, right? We're right now we're in the middle of an audit with a company, a mid-sized company that has, I don't know, a dozen URLs and different properties and 3 different e-commerce platforms, 4 different scheduling platforms and LMS. It's all Frankenstein together. So it's going to take us months to untangle all that and then come up with a long-term 3 to 5 year roadmap for where they should be going. And then, but then most of our projects, it's just a few weeks to really get through those workshops and come up with that roadmap and hit the ground running. And then what we're doing is we're doing usually 2 week sprints. So every 2 weeks, we're demoing where we're at with things and we're making adjustments and modifying
Got
as
it.
we go.
That's awesome. Now I'm going to take you back a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming you didn't start like this, right? How did you start? Because a lot of the people that are going to be listening are not doing, $500,000 a month or,
Sure.
whatever. So how did you start your agency? And then tell me about kind of that morphing process. Cause I think sometimes I know for me, I was like, I need everything perfect. I got to have all this stuff. And
Oh yeah.
then I realized I started in email marketing for restaurants. I'm now in
Yeah.
group dental marketing. Like it's
Right.
weird, right? So it's
Right.
like, so how did that happen? That morph?
Yeah. Well, the opportunity that we first saw in the get go was that we were going to be sort of the pace car for people that already had teams. So what we were finding opportunities is that you have a design and development team, but they're so busy just keeping the lights on that all the new stuff, the fancy new stuff, shiny stuff that the CEO wants to do, the team is always pushing back on them, and it's very frustrating for them. So we're the team that can come in and then sort of launch new features for your SaaS platform or whatever. That's how we were going to kind of bill ourselves as, right? And then and it worked out really well for a while. But again, because they already had a team, we were kind of looked at as a real high overhead, real high expenditure, almost staff augmentation-y in a number of respects, right? So we were looked at, back to your earlier point, we were very much commoditizing ourselves, because what we were doing is we were asking for tickets to be assigned to us, and then we were doing work. So there, while we were calling ourselves an agency, it wasn't much different than a staff augmentation thing. If you
And what do you
really,
mean by that staff? Do you basically mean you're like a backup for if they don't have time to design the thing?
yeah, basically, yeah, like hand it off to our designer and they will do stuff and they'll fill out their timesheet and you can look at it and
So you
you know,
kind of and I think that happens a lot, right? If we're not
it does.
careful, we will
Yep.
commoditize ourselves. Like we'll be like, "Oh, well, I paint a house, and to paint a house, it's $1,000 or whatever it is." And it once you get in that game, it's just whoever's the lowest, and it's a race to the bottom, and that's a bad place to be.
It's hard to do because honestly, staff augmentation places make a lot of money. So you're an owner and you're seeing the money roll in and you don't have to do a lot of work because the work is just being assigned from the client to your team. Great. Like I've got less to do, right? And I'm making a bunch of money. But then what you find out is that they'll dump you in 2 seconds
2 seconds.
for something cheaper,
Yeah.
or they'll hire one more person internally and replace your entire team. Like you're so you could be replaced in no time, and then there goes all that revenue, right? So
Is that what kind of happened with you guys? Is that
you
did you
well,
start to
there
see
was a
that?
scare, right? Because we did have one client early on that was probably 2/3 of their revenue from that respect. And then they brought in a new CTO that started talking about, reducing overhead. And
Yep.
we could tell what that meant. And when we were going out, then back to, because we were so busy focused on that client, we weren't doing a lot of marketing and sales and all those other things, that we turned around and we're looking over our shoulder going, oh, where's the next opportunity? And it's like crickets.
Yeah.
And so we circled up and we figured out, we really need to start getting a position out there, because we started talking to the client and asking them, well, where's the real value in the work that we do? Well, I really
Mm.
like it when Nick looks at our stuff and says, that's really dumb. Don't do it that way.
Yeah.
Or I
So
like
more
it when,
strategic.
Yeah, and so what I found was talking to the client is that yeah, the work getting done was great, but what they really loved was that our team had opinions and shared them with them.